Okay, so we've got our 2020 Model Y, 84,000 miles, 2-inch lift. It's the Mountain Pass Performance Lift. Getting ready to head from Terrebonne, Oregon to Detroit Lake to Harrisburg to Eugene. Getting a Honda Pioneer, headed back. Gonna do that all today with my aluminum flatbed. Preconditioning the vehicle right now, getting the heat up, getting the charge up to maximum. So we'll be departing in about 10 minutes. All right, in the vehicle, getting ready to go. You can see the trip is 75 miles to the Detroit Supercharger. 282 miles of range, which means I'm at about 97% charge. So everything's about to begin. 6:54 a.m. We'll see when we get back. All right, all hooked up and ready to go. Got the Bluetooth wireless brake controller on there. I've shown it before. Absolute necessity for what we're doing. Got the 18-foot aluminum flatbed trailer behind it. Just a little view of the road ahead today. We're going to be passing over the Cascade Mountains, over them and back, over empty, back with a Honda Pioneer. It's going to be a beautiful day, clear, mid-50s. See a lot of cool things. Put the vehicle to a test that's a little beyond what I've done before. So conditions this morning are a little colder than expected. 16 degrees here in Sisters. We burned up quite a few miles in the first 21. We lost 61 miles of stated range. I let it do a little preconditioning as it was picking the Supercharger as the route, and I shouldn't have let it do that. We lost about 5 miles of range from preconditioning, so remember that as you're going down the road if you're towing, especially when you're dealing with colder weather. Just don't let it precondition. So anyway, getting ready to go up over the pass. Just left Sisters. Alright, these are our numbers as we get ready to go over the pass. Since it's the first leg, I'm being real careful, turning off the heat here and there, just conserving to be careful. And it's 15 degrees, so I don't need to catch myself in a zero charge situation at the top of the hill. But numbers look good. We should be golden. Just getting ready to head up by Subtle Lake. So going up the grade right now, just by Subtle Lake, you can see those consumption numbers get real ugly once you start pulling the grade. Luckily, we're almost at the peak, and then we'll go up by Hoodoo, and we'll get some downhill in there and pretty much get our max gain. Beautiful views going up over the pass. You can see Mount Washington to the side there. Alright, we reached the summit. There's the Pacific Crest Trail right there. Hoodoo is up ahead. You can see that our charts have gotten a little crazy. So it's about as high as we're going to get on the pass. So I should be golden, but we shall see. Alright, getting into Detroit. You can see the lake's a little low right now. Bunch of new homes being built. This all burnt just a couple years ago, Labor Day weekend. Turned the heat back on right after I came over the top of the pass. I could tell I was being way over conservative. You can see I'm going to be pulling in with about 90 miles of range, even preconditioning, which you don't have to do, but it's a good idea to do that if you're trying to get on the road quick afterwards and you have plenty of range. You can see my usage. A little lower elevation than where I started. I started at about 3,000. I think I'm right around 2 here. But just getting ready to pull in to the Supercharger. Alright, sitting here in Detroit, stopped and got some corn nuts so I could use their bathroom. And I'm overcharging, going way past where I need to, but I'm getting onto I-5, gonna be driving fast. Just don't want to push my luck, so I'm taking some time answering emails, getting back to some clients. And now I'm done with all those updates, emails, texts, and all that, so I'm gonna hit the road. So we've been driving for 19 miles since Detroit Lake, all downhill. Been driving at a pretty good clip, kind of averaging 65 miles an hour. Have the heat cranked, enjoying that luxurious heat since we've got plenty of range and no hills. Going to the Harrisburg supercharger. Should be there in about an hour, hour and 10. All right, cruising along the highway, going to the Harrisburg supercharger, 75 miles an hour. Everything's working beautifully. I actually picked up a lot of speed on I-5 here because we were consuming way less than I expected. So we should be golden with side-by-side on the back. I'll just slow down to 65, and I think I'll probably get about the same consumption I'm getting right now, which is right under about 600 watt-hours per mile. So we'll see. All right, coming in hot. Never used these superchargers here in Harrisburg. Looks like I'm gonna have to do some disconnecting with the trailer. Usage numbers. Show the chart here. So, looking pretty good. Actually, I think I'm gonna be able to pull this off without disconnecting. Just kind of jackknife in here a little bit. So the problem of no pull-through chargers, you end up having to get creative, but most of the time, people aren't using every stall. So you come to a spot like this and do a little crazy parking. If other people show up, I'll change my situation. Also, let's see what we're getting for charging speeds. Oh, nice. Yeah, that's what we want. Final destination. Nice. So looks like we're only 18 miles away. What I'm gonna do is get as much as I can get, as quick as I can get, and then come back here on the way back to continue the trip. All right, we're on our way up to 151 miles range. I'll be stopping back by in a little bit after I get the Honda Pioneer. All right, here at the halfway point. Current drive, flatbed on the freeway at an average speed of about 68. I went 75 and 65 in between, I think. I averaged probably 68, 69 miles an hour. This is going to be the last of the nice 560 to 600 watt hours per mile. We'll see how much higher it goes when we put the Honda Pioneer on there. All right, going to get the rig now. Driving through Cresswell, going over to the charger, killing a little time. Neat little town. My wife's grandma used to live there. My side-by-side is not ready, so just got a couple hours to burn. There's a fast charger, Crestwell that's brand new. It was just put in a couple weeks ago, so thought I'd come check it out. So we're finally ready to take off. A couple hours late. Took a little longer to get everything ready. First time this company had done that kind of soft-sided enclosed cabs, so showed up and a couple adjustments need to be made. I think I'm about 4,000 pounds here. That's what I was when I had my Ranger on there. This is a little lighter, soft side doors. I may be 3,500. Might be right there at the weight limit, so everything's tied down nice. Gonna reset the trip gauges so we can see what it's like with towing. We were right at 600 watt hours per mile, not towing. All right, getting things going for the trip back home. 262 miles, down a little bit because I had to come from the charger. We're going to, some of that's not accurate because we drove quite a few miles. We were closer to 600 watts per mile, watt hours per mile, towing with just the flatbed. I think that number is going to be more like 750 on the way home. We will see. So since last charge daily, shows 547 again. Well, towing, I think that's a little closer to 600. I think it was about, you'll see if you look back in the video, but I think it was 585 or 590. So, and we're off. All right, heading out just a little bit north of Eugene with the rig in tow, fully charged. This is when it gets a little more real. Consumption numbers on the way were a little scary for my little run, so we'll see about getting to Detroit. If we have to, we'll stop in Salem, but I don't think that's necessary. All right, getting some numbers, time, the range, which really were just 1 or 2% away from full. Almost 900 watts per mile for that run. Now headed to Detroit if we can make it. Just show you guys a little something just in case you're crazy enough to try it when you're going on long trips. See that drop on the chart? That's since I got behind this guy and drafted him. You get up a little bit close, hang on down the highway. The numbers speak for themselves. All right, at the point of no return for deciding whether we charge in Salem or head up to Detroit Lake. Looking like we're good to make it to Detroit. I did some drafting, took it easy. So our consumption numbers are really good, almost down to 700 watt hours per mile, towing with the Pioneer on the back, but I've been taking it easy. I've been driving truck speed 60 miles an hour because I just would much rather make it up to Detroit than stop in Salem, so I'm just being a little safe with a little hypermile style. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn up here at South Jefferson and head up to Detroit. All right, 35 miles from the supercharger. I showed as 34 there because I don't have the supercharger as my destination, because if I do, it's going to start preconditioning, which is going to cost me range. Everything's going to be a little tight going up grade. My numbers look really good for this current drive at 685. Loaded on the highway, everything going a little slower, but getting good numbers. But now I'm about to go up a lot in elevation. I think I'm going to gain about 1,500 feet in elevation from here to Detroit supercharger, and that's my concern. We'd make it easy if it weren't for that, but I'm going to conserve and be careful just in case. All right, take a gander at those numbers. Gone uphill a lot. We're just 19 miles out. Consumed 44 kilowatts in 63 miles, stayed below 700 watt hours per mile. Definitely haven't been pushing the speed, but I've been going with the flow of traffic pretty good. Pretty surprising how well it's held up going up grade. I'm surprised actually how little extra consumption there's been. So looks like we're going to pull into the Detroit supercharger with 5% charge left, which is really equivalent to about 5 miles of range when towing, so we should be golden. All right, pulling on in to Detroit. 12 miles of range left is what it says, which is not accurate. In reality, that means about 4 miles towing, maybe 5. You can see the usage since we left Harrisburg. Went 81 miles. It's 58 kilowatt hours, 713 watt hours per mile. I took it pretty easy just to be safe, which it looks like I was wise to do so, looking at what went on there. We're gonna disconnect, load this baby all the way up with all the electrons it'll fit, and then head to Terrebonne. All right, getting ready for the last leg. A couple more minutes before we are fully charged. Just looking at some numbers here. So that daily is all my towing with a full load at speed since last charge. Pretty surprising going uphill. So those are the numbers. Getting that daily is since I put the load on. Okay, we are 11 miles into the last leg, and you want to see some usage and burning some electrons. 936 watt hours per mile. And I'm taking it pretty easy, going 50 to 55 up the grade, just so that I'm safe. We should be golden. I think I'm basically at the top of the pass now. I'm going to be up and down, but I've hit elevation maximum, I think, or very close to, but that'll show you. You can burn some juice when you're at full load going up over a mountain pass. I was talking about elevation maximum a bit back. I was obviously must be tired because we weren't even in the snow. But we're getting close now. Pretty much going 1 mile per kilowatt hour pulling up this grade, which then it'll be good on the other side. Better be, because I'm going to be making it pretty tight if I don't get better than 1 mile per kilowatt hour. But no, I will. It's just going up this grade, and we're almost to the peak, and then we'll start cruising down the other side. Coming up on Hoodoo, you can see the night lights up there. We're pretty much at elevation maximum, which we had already reached on another peak, but went back down and then back up here, just showing the consumption numbers. I'll be at the summit here in 1 mile. From Detroit Lake to here, went from stated range of 282 to 127. Pretty much ripped it off at 1 kilowatt hour per mile, and we'll see how it turns out then after. There's Hoodoo. Rolling into Sisters. So you can see the usage numbers are way down, 792 watt hours per mile. At the very top of the hill, I was right at 998. Didn't get a video of that because I was driving up over a spot with some passing lanes and needed to pass some people, but yeah, looking good. 83 miles of range, 18 miles to go. Gonna make it easy. Of note here in town, if you're driving a Tesla, or any electric vehicle, there's some charging stations here in town from EVCS. I think they work fine for everybody that uses a CCS charger. But those used to work really nicely with my Tesla with the previous brand that was there, but since they've moved over to EVCS, I can't get a single EVCS charger with my CCS adapter or my CHAdeMO adapter to work. So if you're out running with a Tesla and you want to count on an EVCS, I certainly would not. They just don't work from what I can tell, and I have heard the same from others. All right, so we're back. Current drive numbers. The daily is since putting the load on. Trips. So daily, again, since last charge, current trip, same thing. Pretty amazing, got 744 watts per mile, even going up over the pass, gaining that elevation. So pretty interesting. Made it back comfortably. Spent a little more time on this trip than I expected, having to wait over in Eugene, but everything worked out well.